Honestly, I woke up today, and as we did all these stories and I started doing research for today's video, I almost just was completely let down, just absolutely heartbroken, because I feel like we can't actually get good stories that actually have good narratives and good endings. We get problems and no solution. And it's amazing how we see this, and we see, I guess typical Americans, normal Americans are seeing the answers to the questions, but our leadership doesn't. And I say leadership very vaguely, because to be honest with you, how much are they actually leading when we're in the midst of a shutdown? How much are we actually leading when they're telling us to do one thing, but we know that's not right? For instance, let's discuss today a few things. We hear from Elon Musk, someone that is helping cut budgets, but wait till you hear what he says about transhumanism, about what goes in your mind. I honestly believe that when we talk about leadership, the people who truly want to lead are the people who truly don't want the power to lead. And here's what I mean. If people truly loved America, they'd be more humble and have humility. Well, Elon Musk, there's times that he does personify that. But then wait till you hear the story about how and what he thinks of humans. He is the richest man in the world who has a lot of power, along with a lot of people like him that want to take advantage of us. Let's discuss what Elon said. I think that we should be worried about what he said. Also, Larry Fink. Remember, he is the leader of BlackRock. We know that's bad enough. It's over a lot of America, but now he's over the World Economic Forum. Wait till you hear what he says about crypto. This is why I keep telling you, stay away from this digitized currency, because when everybody seems to be investing in it and being proud to be in it, for the longest, we didn't want to be associated with these individuals. Now we are, and we're buying it hook, line, and sinker. What does Larry Fink and the CEO of BlackRock and the leader of the WEF, and also over just about every government pension there is, what should we learn about what he says? Something else that leaves me heartbroken is what Trump said yesterday about heaven. Now, I hope that there's some spiritual Christians around him that actually could help him get to the next level of understanding who Christ is. We're going to discuss that. And then lastly, are we looking at another 2020? We think, well, no, we're not. That's stupid. We would never believe that. Well, to be honest with you, if you invest in crypto, you invest in the government taking care of you, you believe government is going to save you and help you, wait till you hear what Dr. Anthony Fauci says. Remember, he's still not arrested. He's still got the biggest pension of all government plans. No one's chose to do anything about him, but wait till you hear what he says, that 2020 is not the end. Whew. Let's dive into these stories today. They're heartbreaking, but I think through it, once we get knowledge and gain wisdom, we become better. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here on this beautiful day here in South Mississippi. We hope that you're having a wonderful day, and we thank you for being a part of our channel. We humbly thank you, and we hope that if you like this content, you will share it with your friends and family, because again, our goal is to grow together to make a better America and enjoy freedom, liberty, and of course, being able to worship our God. Now let's jump into the stories of the day. First, let's talk about what J.D. Vance says. J.D. Vance says, if we keep the shutdown going, the Democrats don't realize it, but we're actually going to cut deeper. It's going to be bigger cuts, more layoffs, and more firings. Now, on the aspect of that, I do want our government to shrink. I do believe our government should shrink. There's banking warning saying that if the government keeps on shrinking, we're going to cause a recession. Well, to be honest with you, we should not be allowing the government to have that kind of power in our economy. The government should not be that big. We know that. But I do love what J.D. Vance says is if we keep this going, then we're going to cut more government. So here's what I like. I don't want disagreements over how they spend our money. It's my money. It's your money. I don't believe they should be spending any of it. We should be learning how to save it, because again, we're in debt up to our eyeballs. But I do love the fact that if they're going to keep on going with this shutdown, and basically the Democrats are not backing down from spending more of your money, $1.5 trillion on illegal immigrants and a lot of other things, to give to all these different ideologies and these NGOs to ultimately hurt you as the conservative. I love the fact that now Trump and J.D. Vance says, okay, we're going to use this to our advantage and we're going to cut more and more jobs. Now, on the shallow end of this pool, it makes you say, well, gosh, Kobe, we don't want people to lose their jobs. In this economy, they can't find jobs. We're talking about AI, we're talking about all the dangers of this. What is? But to be honest with you, this is what happens when you make a hard bed. You have to eventually sleep in it. When we spend too much money and we inflate our government too much, eventually it's going to have to be deflated. You know, I can put helium in a balloon and it's going to float, but after a while that helium is going to start coming out and it's going to start losing the pressure and that balloon's going to start sinking. Well, that's kind of what we've done with our economy. We've built it up so much because remember, absolutely our economy is built upon our government. Sadly, it's not built on capitalism. It's not built on private industry. It is actually built on our government. Without government blowing our tax dollars, a recession and a depression probably will start. So that's why all these banks are coming out like, please stop this shutdown, because ultimately they know it will hurt the market. I mean, you know, you got the stock market crash trending, you got Bitcoin crash trending, all this stuff trending. But really what it means is government has wasted way too much of our money and everybody's gotten dependent on the government dole. Well, I love that J.D. Vance and Trump are holding strong. Now, the question is the Congress going to hold strong? They're the ones that's got to actually agree to the shutdown. So I hope Trump can hold enough pressure, because he's losing people like the Marjorie Taylor Greens, of course, the Rand Pauls and the Thomas Masseys. The question is, can he hold the base to hold the line to quit blowing our money? So it's heartbreaking to me that people are losing jobs, but it's even more heartbreaking that our government has inflated this much, that this amount of people are dependent on the government. It's heartbreaking. Now that leads me to the next story. Who wins in this? I mean, absolutely, it's a lose-lose for the American people. Either we lose a lot of jobs and it hurts the economy, or we inflate the economy even more and spend way too much money and the government grows bigger. So really, the thing is, our government has let us down over the last 50 to 60 years anyway. So why are we happy about either side of this situation? That's what's even more heartbreaking, is because we either lose one way or the other. We're going to have to get in the hard bed. You know, if it's kind of like building a house with a foundation that's actually on sand. It's kind of biblical here. If we don't have good, solid foundation and financial stability in our nation, then our house is just going to sway and fall out. It's kind of like politicians. When they don't have a strong core value system, which most of them don't, they're all grifters, both sides of the aisle, by the way, they do what's best for them, not for the American people. That's what this shutdown emulates. Now, Chuck Schumer said that he was going to keep it shut down until October 18th because of this, no Kings protest and all this. The sad thing is, this is a no-win situation for the American people. They've ripped you off of your tax dollars, and they're either going to blow it or waste it or spend more of it and make you pay more. It's heartbreaking to me. Do I love what J.D. Vance and Trump are doing? Yes, because to be honest with you, we need to fix it. But we also need to quit spending money. I would love to see Trump and Vance just say, look, since the shutdown's going on and the Democrats are wanting to keep this going on, we're cutting all 4 and 8 off. Now, will that happen? Doubtful. But that's absolutely what should happen. And then that would help us all come to the negotiating table, because those Democrats want to spend the money. And so does those Rhino Republicans. They want to spend the money. Let's actually get a little bit stronger and stauncher on what we want to cut. And I hope that Trump and them don't take it easily. Don't just do a little scalpel cutting here. I hope they take a chainsaw to it and destroy. If we're gonna hurt the economy, let's go ahead and take the budget down to where we can start seeing surplus again. Sometimes we may have to hit rock bottom. That's why we tell you to be independent and sustainable, because if you're dependent on the government, you are needing the government to fix this problem. You know, honestly, I could care less if the government shuts down or not, because it's not helping me or harming me other than ripping me off, period, no matter which way I look at it, either through the market or through tax bases. So at some point in time, some hard decisions have to be made. If we voluntarily make them right now, then we're not made to make them in a significant depression. Tell your Congress and your Senate to quit being worthless and actually start working for the American people. Now that leads me to this next story, because what I've realized is no one's really looking out for us. I want you to listen to what Larry Fink says. Now, remember, we didn't like Larry Fink. We didn't like the world he got for him. We don't like BlackRock. Now, if that's the case, then why in the world are we embracing crypto? I want you to listen to what he said, because to me this speaks volumes. He just spoke on 60 Minutes, done a lot of interviews, because again, this man is getting, honestly, I'm going to blow your mind here. I think this man is way more powerful than Trump. I think this man is way more powerful than any player in the world right now. Listen to what he says. $12 trillion BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says there is a role for crypto the same way there was a role for gold. It's not a bad asset, and we're going to see it skyrocketing. We believe in this asset. Now, the same guy who wants you to digitize currency, the same guy who wants to manipulate you into these, the same guy who wants absolute ESG control of you, the same guy who just became the leader not only of being over Americans' pensions and government subsidies and also Social Security, and also sits on every major Fortune 500 board there is, now tells you crypto is the way to go. And the woke right, the libertarians, the Democrats, and now the establishment Republicans are embracing this digitized stablecoin or crypto. Here's what they're saying. They're saying, well, remember, if we produce stablecoins and we monetize all this and commoditize all the national parks and all these beautiful things we have on Earth, and we use digitized tokens for it and currencies, which is all a bunch of fluff. It's all speculation, people. All that means is nothing's really based on anything. It's all just made of thin air. But they're saying we can actually get out of our debt. See, they're going to sell you to say this is the way to make America truly great again. Look, Trump and his family has embraced this crypto push. Remember, as much as I love Trump, I actually do not like the fact that they're giving Larry Fink more power over our canals, over our energy surpluses, over our data centers, over nuclear reactors, over our pensions. It wasn't just Trump that did that. It was the Biden administration, it's the Obama administration, it's the Bush administration. Larry Fink has gained so much power, and now the world has given him power through the World Economic Forum. But now he's embracing crypto. So when I tell you how dangerous digitized currencies are and how it's made out of thin air and it's absolutely nothing but speculated, fake, manipulated currency that has some kind of internet value, I love when people say, well, we can't really explain it, but it's real. Isn't that funny? You know, I can have faith in things like Jesus because we see there's historical documents. There is the proof that Jesus was there. I can have faith in this chair, but if it only has one leg, do you think it's going to hold me up? I may have faith that it has 3 more legs, but if they're invisible, does it actually have legs? Now, I can make believe it does, but it's going to probably make me fall, correct? If Bitcoin can be seized, the marshals can seize it, China can stop it, it can be hacked, and I know people are like, oh, it can't be. You do realize that our U.S. Marshal Service has hacked and taken and seized Bitcoin before in wallets. You do realize that, right? So now the most powerful man in the world who has sinister intentions tells you that you should be investing in it. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking I'm going to go back to gold and dollars. And if you really want to change the world, if you really want freedom and liberty, you better stay away from crypto. It's funny how libertarians are now pushing for crypto more than ever because of the blockchain, because it's safe and effective. I've often wondered, I call myself a Christian conservative libertarian. Now, that means I believe in freedom, but I don't believe in stupidity or moral relativism like most libertarians do. The reason libertarians never get in power is because sometimes they don't make any sense. And to tell me that you're going to believe in a speculative currency that is based on internet and based on connectivity and based on energy, that gives you freedom? Boy, we have lost our way, haven't we? We have to pay attention to this, because this leads me to the 2 last stories before we get into the Trump situation. You had Elon Musk and Anthony Fauci make monster announcements that should scare the absolute dog mess out of you. Listen to what Elon Musk said, and then we're going to go right into Fauci. Because both of these deal with just what we're talking about, with full control of our monetization of our dollars like Larry Fink is wanting. But listen to what Elon Musk just said. He was interviewed, and it said, Elon Musk envisions a future where Neuralink doesn't just heal people. Now you see, this is the part where you have to be very careful of this God complex of all rich billionaires and trillionaires, because you're going to make trillionaires through AI. But if you remember how everybody says, well, when he came up with Neuralink, it was to make people be able to do things that they never could. Like you see people eating, people telling their extremities to work again, them using their mind to speak. All amazing technology that God has given wisdom for somebody like Elon Musk to make. But here's where, with great power comes great responsibility. Listen to how this has now changed. And this is where you have to be very careful of Palantir. It's where you have to be very careful of Larry Ellison. It's where you have to be very careful of the capabilities we're giving our CIA. We have to be very careful of even Elon Musk. Listen to this, because instead of just helping people heal, here's the next step. Elon Musk envisions a future where Neuralink doesn't just heal, it evolves us. It makes us evolve. Evolution. The goal isn't just medical recovery, it's human AI fusion. Intelligence amplified, thought transmitted at the speed of light. Humanity 2.0 begins today. I don't know about you, but don't we hear about being shipped in a certain mark in a digitized form of who we are, all linked into a computer system? That kind of reminds me of Revelation, I think, doesn't it? It's amazing how things so good can be turned for so much evil. Now, do I like Elon Musk and Doge and things like that they were doing? Do I believe he's come around to smart? Do I believe that God is dealing with him? Yes, because he's talking spiritual. He's talking about these things, but then this kind of stuff comes out of his mouth. And do you think Elon will abuse it? Maybe. But maybe he doesn't. Maybe he builds the technology and someone else abuses it. Maybe your government abuses it. Did you know, have you ever seen the movie Minority Report, where AI was basically using it, was showing this fake computer that was looked like a lady, but ultimately what it was they were trying to stop crime before it happened. It was a movie with Tom Cruise, and everybody was like, oh, that's so stupid. Nobody can stop crime before it happens. Did you know that they're developing that right now? Actually, do you know it was actually developed in Trump's first term, and he stopped it because he couldn't really grasp how dangerous this could be? You know who made it? Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump both were part of that. Now, they were trying to probably help people not have to deal with criminals and crime in the cities. Well, that sounds good, doesn't it, Colby? Well, now that same technology, Palantir and people like the Neuralink specialist and Elon and Larry Ellison, all these people and CIA are starting to use this, and it's a program. And you just look it up. HARPA. Biden came up with it too. And what it was a play on cognitive ability, where we see and we use AI to scroll people's security and privacy to ultimately stop them before they quote-unquote commit a crime. AI is being used to basically stop someone from doing something that they haven't done yet and arrest them before it just because they probably thought it. Well, don't you believe that Neuralink and more AI in our life is going to be the actual prison that we're putting ourselves in, along with now that you have Bitcoin telling you and crypto telling you that it's the right way, and then Larry Fink, the biggest investor of control and manipulation in you, is telling you to get into this digitized currency. Oh, by the way, and he embraces the biomarkers that Bill Gates has done. And oh, by the way, we see our dollar following, the markets are following. We need something to stabilize our government, so we need to build this new cryptocurrency called stable coins and digitized commodities. Well, we commoditize everything in the world, so then therefore it's all built on speculative nothing. But Neuralink is going to help you because you're going to be able to understand way more. You see the control in that aspect. Now, you think, well, that stuff will never happen because, Trump's in leadership. Well, if you remember, there was certain scientists at the NIH that started something and warned that Trump would deal with the pandemic in 2019, and all of a sudden 2019, 2020 it came, and all of a sudden it did. Well, guess what? That same guy. So we've seen the dangers of the shutdown and the politicians letting us down. We've seen the dangers of Larry Fink and how he's embracing crypto, and now you, libertarians, conservatives, freedom-minded, oriented people think that crypto is some kind of safe haven. And then we see that Elon is telling us that AI will be a part of our lives and be completely in control of your body, not just for health benefits, but for safety, but ultimately to control you, and you're going to be a superhuman 2.0. Lastly, Fauci was interviewed. Now, he's not in prison because for some reason we don't lock up anybody anymore that does bad things to us, but listen to what he says. He says, this came out from a PBS interview. Anthony Fauci says he is convinced and overwhelmingly thinking that there will be another pandemic. Now, if you remember, in 2016, 2017, he said Trump will deal with a pandemic. And here's the thing. Didn't matter how dangerous it was. It was a control mechanism that worked wholeheartedly in the favor of the government. It gave them more power. Did you know that if we went back to pre-pandemic spending, we would actually be in a surplus? Did you realize how much money we put into the budget and how much we blew and how we inflated the budget? And now we're sitting at levels we can't afford and the debt's gotten way bigger just because of that day. So it doesn't matter if you believe in this going on in your face or you don't believe that you need 45 of these like everybody else does. It's the fact that it gives them control because you're willing to give up your safety, your security, your freedom, all in the name of government protecting you. Ben Franklin once said that if we're learning to give up our freedom all for a little security and protection, then we have lost them both and we will be ruled by tyrants. Now, do I believe Trump or this administration is a bad player? No, I just believe, honestly, that power corrupts. And I believe no matter what side of the aisle that we have, if we truly want freedom and we truly want to be taken care of, we cannot look to Washington to do it. First of all, we have to have freedom and spiritual freedom, freedom in Christ to know that we're saved and that this world is just passing by. But not only that, we have to realize that it's heartbreaking to see how bad our world is. Man, I have 6 kids growing up. Do you think that I'm telling them to focus on what government can teach them and get in public schools, do these things that government tells you to do, believe in crypto because government tells you to, tell you that debt's okay because government tells you to, tell you that history's not important and that we don't need these relationships and allies like Israel because the government tells you to and America tells you to? Because, you see, we can be so brainwashed, can't we? If I gave all my children TikTok and all they did was stay on digitized forms, don't you think that probably would harm them more than help them? I'm trying to keep my kids safe from all that. When we hear people like Anthony Fauci telling you there's going to be another pandemic, and remember what Henry Kissinger once said. He said, if we cannot change the thought pattern of Americans, then sometimes catastrophe and chaos makes us to be where we can change thought patterns and we can start doing different things. Larry Fink said the same thing. Guess who taught Henry Kissinger? Guess who Henry Kissinger was the mentor of? Klaus Schwab and Larry Fink. So here's what I'm saying. People are wanting to control you. Elon just came out with a story. Larry Fink just came out with a story. The government's trying to take more of your money, so that's a control mechanism. And then Fauci is telling them, this is how we do it. Just like normal, all we got to do is just simply, cause a major problem. We've seen it worked in 2020. It could probably work again. And I am for sure we're going to see another pandemic. That should scare you into being prepared and being a prepper. Last story I want to bring up. Trump made a comment yesterday that was just really sad. And he talked about how he doesn't believe he can get to heaven. And he doesn't believe heaven's there for him. And he kind of laughed it off in jest. And don't get me wrong. Do I believe that we have to be broken and having full repentance to understand forgiveness in Christ? But the sad part of this is there is supposedly Christians around him. There's supposedly Christians in his cabinet. There's supposedly spiritual advisors. And to have the President of the United States say he doesn't understand heaven, that he doesn't really understand the Bible, that he believes that works could get him there, that he believes that there's nothing that he can do to get there. That's heartbreaking to me, people. The worst story of the day is the fact that our president, yes, he's standing with Christians, and I'm so thankful for it. But the sad thing is that he doesn't understand Christianity, or God, or Jesus. Please, someone around him, let him understand Romans, the Roman road. I mean, something so easy. Let him understand John 3:16. Let him understand that Jesus is the way. The president will never know who I am. But we do know who the president is. The president is supposedly having Christians around him. Our press secretary wears a cross all the time. She talks about being a Christian. We hear Mike Huckabee's right there. He has all these spiritual people around him. Please, Franklin Graham, someone, reach out to the president and say, here's how you become saved. And let him figure it out. If he's already to the point of realizing that he can't have salvation because he don't believe heaven's for him, then he's already to the point where he understands that he needs a savior. And one thing I've learned is a lot of times these people in power, politicians and rich people, they struggle the worst, so it says in the Bible, because they're so used to always fending for themselves and doing things on their own and having the power. Well, one thing I've realized with Christianity and with the world that we live in, is what's heartbreaking, is we can't do it on our own. And the worst thing about today is that the fact that he has been president, he's lived through 2 attempts on his life, at least. He's lived through all these peace negotiations. He's talked more spiritually and religiously, dealing with all these spiritual wars that are going on, dealing with the Middle East. And yet, he doesn't really understand heaven. Please, for the love of God, please someone spread the message and share the message of the gospel with him. He literally said it, probably one of the biggest awakening and revival chances ever with Charlie Kirk. And the woke right is ruining that, by the way, and ruining his ministry. But please, someone, I beg of someone to please talk to the president about what true faith is. Just think, if some of the biggest world leaders truly got saved and God radically changed their life, how much we could change America, change the world. I don't want to hear people say they're Christian. I don't want to see them just say they're going to help Christians. I want people to be saved and convert and change. I don't want to hear the Pope talking about how he's trying to help immigrants and not really talk about Christ. I don't want to hear all these leaders say they're Christians but curse every other word. I don't want to hear that he has spiritual advisors but no one actually wants to tell him the truth. We live in hard times. I mean, listen to these 3 stories with Fauci and Elon and Larry Fink and the shutdown. Man, we're going through tough things. You know, the one thing that can help us through it all is Jesus. And Trump's 80 years old. He has a very stressful job. If anyone can help him, he's got more money and know what to do with. He's got more power and know what to do with. The only thing that can actually help him is Jesus. So I'm hoping and praying that someone beside him will humble themselves and say, "Here am I, send me." Charlie Kirk had a church. He always talked about that. "Here am I, send me." It's a biblical verse. If we really want to change the world, it takes being saved and changing our walk to realize it's not about us anymore. I used to say this all the time. In Luke 9:23, it talks about take up your cross daily. I was a youth minister a long time ago. But I used to tell these kids that if we truly want to be who God wants us to be, we have to deny who we are each day and put on Christ. We have to do that. Well, I'm hoping someone around President Trump will show that and deny themselves and put on Christ and witness, because God can do amazing things through our leadership if they will just humble themselves and follow him. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video. It's not meant to scare you. It's meant to tell you to prepare, but more than that, spiritually prepare. We need awakening like never before. And I'm hoping it happens very soon. God bless.